Welcome back to the deep dive. I hope you're sitting comfortably. Maybe you've got the lights dimmed a little low, because today we are going to transport ourselves back in time.
Oh, yeah.
We are settling in for what I can only describe as a fascinating, slightly eerie, but incredibly cozy late-night chat.
That's the perfect way to put it.
You know, that specific feeling when it's 2 in the morning, the world is quiet, and the big questions just start floating around the room.
Yeah, that's it. It really does have that vibe, doesn't it? It's that middle of the night clarity. It's a liminal space where the distractions of the day, the emails, the traffic, all the noise, it's just gone.
Right.
And suddenly the nature of reality doesn't feel so abstract anymore. It feels urgent. It feels like something we can actually touch.
Exactly. And before we strike the match and light the candle on this discussion, we have a little bit of housekeeping to take care of.
The necessary bits.
Just to be absolutely clear, this podcast is distributed free of charge on all major platforms for educational purposes. We're here to learn, to explore, and to share.
That's right. We aren't selling you a philosophy. We're exploring a record.
And for our source material today, we are opening up a very specific historical document. We aren't just, riffing on vague ideas here.
No, this is the real deal. We're looking at session 180 of the early sessions, book 4 of the Seth Material.
I mean, this is the raw transcript of a session recorded on Monday, August 23rd, 1965. It started at 9 p.m. sharp.
Wow.
And we must give full credit where it is due. This material comes to us from the Seth Material and the publisher, New Awareness Network.
Absolutely. If you want to follow along or dig deeper, and trust me, after today, you are going to want to. They are the guardians of these archives.
1965. Just pause and think about that context for a second.
I know, it's so easy to forget. We are so used to our modern conveniences that it's almost hard to strip them away mentally.
I was thinking about this while prepping. It's 1965. There is no internet. There are no smartphones. There is no cloud.
Right.
If you want to test if someone is psychic, you can't just Google a random number generator or use some fancy app.
You have to get physical.
Yes. You're literally hiding envelopes and bookshelves like you're in some low-budget noir spy movie.
It really was lo-fi science, but in a way that makes it more compelling to me.
Me too.
There's no digital trickery possible. There's no hacking. It's just people, a room, a typewriter, carbon paper, and the human mind. It's raw.
So what is our mission for this deep dive? We are taking a stack of notes from this one specific session, and we're going to explore the limitless potential of the human personality. But we're doing it through a very specific lens. We're going to look at a test, a literal test, conducted by Robert Butts, who Seth calls Joseph.
And his wife, Jane Roberts, who channels Seth as Ruburt.
Yeah.
It's a dual mission, really. On one hand, you have this parlor trick verification, the blind envelope test.
Right, the hook.
It's the how is that possible moment that pulls you in. But on the other hand, woven right next to that is this profound philosophy about the nature of the ego, the nature of space, and why we are usually blind to all the magic around us.
It's that mixture of the mundane and the mystical that I just love. Yes. It's not just high-flown philosophy. It's grounded in a guy hiding a picture in a book.
Yeah.
So let's unpack this. Section 1, the setup.
Right. So we are in Elmira, New York. It's August 23rd. Jane Roberts is the vessel here. And the context is just crucial. She is absolutely exhausted.
Yeah, the notes are very specific about this. She has just finished the final draft of her book on ESP. She's done.
She's fried.
She's fried. She's actually looking for a quote to end the final chapter. She's tired, been working hard, and her defenses are probably way down.
And that's when Seth, the entity she channels, comes through. And the first thing he does is, well, he's actually pretty nice about it.
He is. He's incredibly supportive.
He starts by congratulating Ruburt, that's his name for Jane. He says, our Ruburt is indeed relaxing, having just finished his book, and he had my congratulations.
It's like a boss giving you a pat on the back after a big project.
Huh.
But then he gets into prediction mode.
He does.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because he's not just saying, good job, take a nap. He's making specific claims about the future of this manuscript.
He predicts financial success. For one. He says the book will definitely be a success and a financial one. But notice the phrasing he uses here because it's really quite beautiful.
What's that?
He calls this book her initiation. He says it's an initiation into a field where her innermost energies are rooted.
Innermost energies. I love that phrase. It implies that this wasn't just a job for her. It wasn't just another writing gig. It was
destiny. Or maybe alignment is a better word.
Alignment is perfect.
Yeah. Seth points out that it wasn't inevitable that she turned to this field. She had free will. She could have written, I don't know, romance novels or cookbooks.
Sure.
But her personality was naturally drawn to this. And because she applied such intense focus, the success was the natural result.
He even gets super specific. He predicts that within 3 months of the first book being accepted, a second book will be contracted.
Which is bold. That is a measurable timeline.
3 months. It's not just vague fortune-telling. It's a validation of her whole life's purpose. Seth calls it inner manipulations. It's like he's telling her, you are on the right path. Keep walking.
And psychologically, just think about what that does for Jane.
Right.
She's trying to navigate this weird fringe world of psychic phenomena in the mid-60s. She's probably dealing with massive doubt, maybe even wondering if she's losing her mind.
Of course.
And having this voice, which comes from her, but is also distinct from her, tell her, you are going to succeed because this is who you are. I mean, that's powerful reinforcement.
It is. But Robert Joseph, he's not just sitting there nodding along. He's the scribe sitting at the typewriter, but he's also the scientist in the room.
The skeptic who wants proof.
Exactly. He's got a plan. We're calling this the Joseph Maneuver.
The Joseph Maneuver. I like that. So Robert has prepared a test. And again, this is pure 1965 spycraft.
It is.
He has prepared a double envelope.
Double envelope. High security. Explain the protocol here for us.
It's exactly what it sounds like. He puts an object inside a standard envelope and seals it. Then he puts that envelope inside another opaque envelope and seals that one.
So you can't see through it.
You can't see through it. You can't easily feel the texture of the object. And crucially, he hides it.
Right.
He slips this package between 2 books in the bookcase before the session starts, specifically so Jane wouldn't see him do it.
I could just picture him, tiptoeing around the back room, sliding this envelope between, I don't know, an encyclopedia and a novel, looking over his shoulder to make sure Jane isn't watching.
It sounds funny, but it's actually really good protocol. He's eliminating visual cues.
For sure.
He's eliminating the possibility that she saw him holding a specific photo or object. So the session takes place in their back room. Jane goes into a trance. Her eyes are closed. She starts speaking for Seth at 8, 5, and 9 p.m.
And the atmosphere? It's quiet. Seth is talking about the book, about Jane's health, suggesting she take up painting to relax.
Oh, very calm.
And then, at 9:10 p.m., the trigger is pulled.
Robert sees his opening. Seth says, I see you have no tests for me this evening. Which is a bit of a tease because Seth usually knows exactly what's going on.
Seth is totally baiting him. Oh, nothing for me tonight, Rob. Just a casual chat.
Exactly. So Robert takes the bait. He reaches over, slips the envelope out of the bookshelf, and drops it into Jane's lap.
And what does Jane do? This is the moment. Does she jump? Does she open her eyes?
No. The notes are very specific. She doesn't flinch. Her eyes remain closed.
Wow.
She is already Seth. She just picks it up, fingers it lightly, doesn't bend it, doesn't try to rip it open, and then she starts to describe what's inside.
This is where we get into section 2, the envelope reveal. This is the data. This is the moment of truth where we see if this is real or just, imagination.
It is. And remember, she's holding a sealed double envelope. She has no way of seeing inside with her physical eyes.
Okay, let's run down the list of what Seth says. We need to act as the jury here. What's the first hit?
Okay, first the material, Seth says. Inside the envelope, heavy paper or light cardboard.
And it's a photograph. So, check. That's a hit. Photographs, especially older ones, they feel like heavy paper or light cardboard?
Correct. Then, the subject matter, Seth says, 2 people, a man and a woman.
Okay, let's look at the actual photo. Who is in it?
Well, actually, this is interesting. The photo is of Jane, just Jane.
Oh.
But Robert took the photo.
Ah, okay. So Seth says 2 people, a man and a woman. Is that a miss?
Not necessarily. In the context of clairvoyance, often the energy of the people involved is attached to the object.
Right.
Robert took the picture. Jane is in the picture. The connection is between the 2 of them. Seth later clarifies that the impressions contain the people involved in the creation of the object as well.
So he's not just scanning the ink on the paper. He's scanning the history of the object. He's picking up on the photographer, the man, and the subject, the woman.
Exactly. And that interpretation is strengthened by the next hit. Initials, Seth says.
JB.
JB, Jane Butts. That's her married name.
Direct hit. And Jane even notes later that when she heard herself say JB, she knew instantly it meant her. Okay, that's pretty specific. Cardboard. Man and woman energy. JB. What about the visual setting? If he says, I see a skyscraper, and she's in a forest, we've got a problem.
He says, I think also of hills.
And the photo. Where was it taken?
The photo was taken at York Beach, Maine. Jane is sitting on these big, craggy rocks.
Okay.
Ruburt notes that if you painted the figure out, the rocks would look exactly like a mountain range or hills.
So hills describes the visual shape of the background. That's another hit.
And then the numbers, Seth mentions. The numbers 4.
Well, 4 and 6. What's the significance there?
This is more of a new...
And the photo is...
black and white.
So the skeptic in the room says, aha, caught you. It's black and white. Seth says orange and yellow. He's guessing.
That would be the superficial reading. But Ruburt analyzes this, and Seth explains it. The photo was taken on an incredibly bright, sunny day at the beach.
Okay.
In fact, other photos on that roll were overexposed because the sun was so glaring.
So Seth isn't seeing the pigment on the paper. He's sensing the atmosphere of the moment the photo was taken.
Precisely. And this is a crucial distinction in understanding how this phenomenon works. It differentiates psychic scanning from just, like, X-ray vision.
Right.
If he were just X-ray vision, he would see gray, black, and white pixels. But because it's clairvoyance, he picks up the emotional and atmospheric content. The feeling of the day was orange, yellow, sunny, warm. That feeling was translated into color data.
That makes so much sense. It's like, if you remember a really angry conversation, you might remember the color red, even if the walls were blue. The emotion colors the perception. It's almost like synesthesia.
Exactly. The mind translates energy into symbols we can understand. In this case, the energy of bright sun became orange and yellow color.
But there was another distortion, right? Something about flowers?
Yes. Seth mentions a border of flowers.
And I'm guessing no flowers at the beach.
No flowers, just rocks and sea.
So where did the flowers come from? Did Jane just hallucinate them?
Seth explains this as an associative distortion. This is a key technical concept. Basically, the mind fills in the blanks.
How so?
The signal received was sunny, nature, happy, summer. Jane's brain, the receiving mechanism, has a deep association. Summer plus sun plus nature equals flowers, so her brain just painted a border of flowers around the image.
That is wild. It's like the autocorrect on your phone. You type, I'm going to the, and it suggests store, even if you were going to the moon. It fills in the most likely blank based on past associations.
That is a perfect analogy. The psychic channel isn't a fax machine that gives you a pixel-perfect copy. It's a translation device.
And the translator, Jane's subconscious, adds its own flavor.
It does. And what's cool is that Seth admits it. He doesn't say, oh, there were invisible spirit flowers. He says, essentially, yeah, that was a distortion. That was an association.
And that honesty actually makes the account more credible to me.
Me too.
If it were perfect, I'd be suspicious. The fact that it shows the mechanics of the error, how the brain tried to make sense of the data, shows us the operating procedure of the personality, which is what Seth claims to be teaching.
Exactly. So we have this mix of hits and interpreted misses. But then Ruburt asks a question that I think is really important for anyone interested in this stuff.
Yeah.
He asks, was this telepathy or was it clairvoyance?
Ah, the big debate.
The big debate in parapsychology. So let's define these. Telepathy would mean Seth just read Ruburt's mind.
Right, because Ruburt knew what was in the envelope, so maybe Seth just plucked the image from Ruburt's brain.
Which would still be impressive, by the way.
Oh, for sure.
But clairvoyance means reading the object itself, independent of Ruburt's thoughts.
And what does Seth say?
Ruburt asks this directly, and Seth's verdict is, it was clairvoyance. He says he tuned in to the object itself.
But he gives a caveat, doesn't he?
He does. He admits that it could have been telepathy. He says it could have just as easily been obtained through telepathic communication. But then he adds this great line.
Go on.
He says he prefers clairvoyance for his own reasons and peculiarities.
Own reasons and peculiarities. I love that. It implies that a non-physical entity has preferences. Like, I could read your mind, Rob, but I prefer to scan the atoms of the paper. It's just my style.
It creates sense of personality. He's not a machine or some cold computer. He has a method he likes. He has agency.
Okay, so while we are on the topic of testing and methods, we have to talk about the Peggy Gallagher subplot.
Yes, the mysterious object in the purse.
Because this is where the dynamic between Seth, Jane, and the test gets a little tense.
It does. So Peggy Gallagher is a friend of theirs. She has started carrying an object around in her handbag specifically to test Jane.
And Ruburt knows about it, Jane knows about it, but they don't know what it is.
Right. And Jane has some ideas, consciously. She thinks it's metal. She has this impression of tin or galvanized metal, maybe something Peggy's husband used for sculpture.
Okay, so in the session, Does Seth reveal what it is? Does he just drop the mic and say, it is a tin whistle?
He explicitly refuses to.
Why? If he knows and he just nailed the envelope test, why not just say it?
This is the brilliance of Seth as a teacher. He says, I know what the object is, but he explains that Jane is concerned too much about it. She's anxious. And if he tries to force the answer through while she is anxious, she might distort it. And if she gets it wrong, her confidence will just crash.
So he's prioritizing her mental state over the immediate proof.
Exactly. He says it is important that these affairs be spontaneous. When he feels under test conditions, he will not do well until his confidence is strengthened.
That is such a key takeaway for anyone trying to learn a skill, not just psychic stuff.
Totally.
If you are terrified of failing, you will fail. The ego just clenches up.
Right. Seth is coaching her. He's saying, we're going to build your wins on the easy stuff, the envelope in the book, before we tackle the high-pressure stuff with your friends watching. He's managing her ego so she doesn't block the data.
It's the importance of spontaneity. You can't force the aha moment. You have to let it happen. You have to get out of your own way.
And that leads us perfectly into the philosophy of it all. Because Seth isn't doing these card tricks just to show off.
Yeah.
He's doing them to prove a point about the nature of reality.
Section 4, the philosophy, the limitless self. This is where we go from cool party trick to existential crisis in the best way possible.
Seth drops some really heavy statements in this session. He just transitions from discussing the envelope to discussing the universe.
Let's look at this quote. I want to read it exactly because it gave me chills. Seth says, "The human personality has no limitations except those which it accepts."
And he follows it up with, there are no boundaries to the self except those boundaries which the self arbitrarily creates and perpetuates.
Arbitrarily creates. That word arbitrary stings a bit. It means we are doing it to ourselves for no good reason. It means the walls around us are fake.
It's the concept of the veil of ignorance. Seth argues that we are blind not because we can't see, but because we fear to perceive. We pull down a veil.
Why would we fear to perceive?
Because the ego, the part of us that navigates the physical world, wants to feel safe. It wants to understand everything.
Of course.
If you suddenly start perceiving things that don't fit into the physical box, like seeing inside a sealed envelope or feeling the emotions of a photo, the ego panics. It says, that's not real, shut it down.
So the ego is the bouncer at the club, keeping the weird stuff out.
Exactly. But Seth argues that the ego doesn't have to be the enemy. He actually defends the ego in this session.
Really? Usually in spiritual circles, the ego is the bad guy. You have to kill the ego.
Seth takes a different approach. He says the ego is just, well, it's limited in its current view. He says the ego, however, is also capable of greater knowledge and potentiality and scope.
So we don't need to fire the bouncer. We just need to retrain him.
We need to show the ego that it's safe to look beyond the physical. Seth says the ego can partake of sturdier, hardier, more vivid realities.
I like that, sturdier, hardier. It sounds nourishing. Like reality is richer than we think, and the ego is starving itself by only eating the dry toast of physical perception.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And this brings us to his redefinition of space. This is one of the most mind-bending parts of the session.
Oh, yeah. He talks about empty space not being empty.
He says, that which appears empty, such as your space, is empty only for those who will not perceive.
So the air between me and you right now, it looks empty. But Seth is saying it's full.
Full of information, full of consciousness. He uses this beautiful poetic image, He says. The inquiring intuitions and the searching self, like summer winds, can travel in small and large spaces, can know of actualities that are more minute than pinheads and more massive than galaxies.
Like summer winds. That sounds so free.
It suggests that consciousness is non-local. It's not locked in your skull. It's not trapped behind your eyes. Your inquiring intuitions can flow out like the wind and touch a photograph inside an envelope or a star in a distant galaxy.
And the test, the envelope test, was just a tiny microscopic proof of that massive concept.
Exactly. The test proves the principle. If Jane's mind can travel 3 feet into a bookshelf and read the emotional climate of a photograph, then theoretically there is no limit to where it can travel.
It's the difference between walking to the mailbox and flying to the moon. It's the same physics of movement, just different scales.
And Seth is telling them, you are focusing on the mailbox, but I'm trying to show you the galaxy.
So what does this all mean for us? For the person listening to this on their commute or while washing dishes?
It means that the feeling of being stuck or limited or small is an illusion.
It's a choice.
It's a boundary we have accepted.
We've accepted the boundary that I am here, the world is there, and there is empty space between us.
But if we listen to Seth, we are connected to everything. We have access to information more minute than pinheads and more massive than galaxies. We just have to be brave enough to lift that veil.
And maybe stop worrying so much about getting the answer right or wrong on the test and just focus on the flow.
Yes.
Like Jane with the envelope, she didn't strain, she didn't panic, she just let the information come.
She was already Seth. She was in the flow state.
This has been, wow, a lot to process.
What?
From a tired writer in 1965 to the structure of the universe.
It's a journey. And it's funny, looking back at the flowers mistake,
right?
Even interdimensional consciousnesses have glitches.
The border of flowers. I love that. It makes it so human. It reminds us that we are interpreting this vast reality through our own little human filters, and that's okay.
It is okay.
We might see flowers where there are none, but we're still seeing the sun.
That is a beautiful way to put it. We are sensing the warmth, even if we get the details a little wrong.
So if you are listening to this and your curiosity is piqued, if you want to understand the operating procedure of your own personality, you really need to go to the source.
Absolutely.
We are just scratching the surface here.
We are looking at session 180. There are hundreds of sessions. You need to read the books.
We strongly encourage you to visit sethcenter.com/the early sessions. That's sethcenter.com/the early sessions.
Yeah.
That's where you can find these books, support the publisher, and dive into the archives yourself. Don't just take our word for it.
Read the raw material. See how Seth develops these ideas over time. It's a masterclass in psychology and metaphysics.
Before we go, I want to leave you with a thought, a little homework assignment for your brain.
Let's hear it.
Seth said, "The only boundaries you have are the ones you accept." Well, that's a heavy statement. So my question to you is this. What boundary have you accepted today that might not actually exist?
Oh, that's good.
Is it a boundary in your career, in your relationships, in your own intelligence? And look at the empty space around you right now, whether you're in a car, a room, or outside. What if that empty space is actually full of information you're just afraid to see?
What is the veil of ignorance protecting you from?
Something to mull over as you go about your day. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into 1965, into the mind of Jane Roberts, and into the limitless potential of yourself.
It's been a pleasure. Keep exploring.
We'll catch you on the next one.